In episode 3 of Is This Hero for Real?, a knight informs the Saintess about a bag belonging to a hero that was discovered within the Knoll territory in the forest. Meanwhile, Kang Hansu comes to the rescue of a group of mercenaries, and as a token of gratitude, they offer him a ride back to the city. During the journey, Cogmos reveals to Kang Hansu that mercenaries receive a special blessing that grants them experience points whenever they successfully complete a quest. This revelation shocks Kang Hansu, and he hurriedly examines his hero's curse, realizing that the experience gained from completing quests remains unaffected by the curse. This realization opens up a new path for him to become stronger. Filled with determination, Kang Hansu demands Cogmos to share how he can become a mercenary, seeing it as an opportunity to enhance his abilities further. After a scene transition, Kang Hansu, Cogmos, and the mercenaries have managed to enter the Night Empire. As they walk through the city streets, Cogmos notices Kang Hansu's displeased expression and asks if he is unhappy being in the city. Kang Hansu clarifies that his expression is not due to that but rather because he senses a foul stench emanating from somewhere. Cogmos pointed out to Kang Hansu that the foul stench was due to Kang Hansu being covered in orc blood during the battle with the others. Kang Hansu acknowledged the truth and playfully criticized Cogmos' way of speaking, leading Cogmos to express his frustration. During their banter, Julia and her friend Leisha interrupted them and suggested that they all stay in the same inn as a way to repay Kang Hansu for saving their lives. Kang Hansu agreed to the idea, but the outsider god seemed displeased, so Kang Hansu reassured the god that there's nothing wrong with staying at the same inn since he is impotent anyway. Kang Hansu then proposed going to the mercenary guild first, but Cogmos insisted on heading to the inn to take a bath and get rid of the orc blood smell. As the scene shifts, Kang Hansu and Cogmos are in a room at the inn. Kang Hansu is having his clothes cleaned with the assistance of some slimes. While playfully interacting with the slimes during the cleaning process, Cogmos interrupts him, urging Kang Hansu to stop playing and get dressed. Kang Hansu explains that his clothes aren't fully cleaned yet, and he doesn't have any spare clothes. However, Cogmos reveals that he has already prepared some sets of clothes for him to wear, which prompts Kang Hansu to grimace in frustration. The scene shifts to the main hall of the inn, where we find Kang Hansu fully dressed, standing somewhere with frustration evident on his face as Cogmos flirts with the ladies around. Amidst all this, the attention in the inn suddenly shifts towards Julia and Leisha as they descend the stairs to meet Kang Hansu and Cogmos. Cogmos eagerly approaches the ladies, offering warm and gentlemanly greetings, leaving Kang Hansu annoyed and wondering why Cogmos is so infatuated with women. Annoyed, Kang Hansu expresses his hunger and desire to eat. Cogmos, upon hearing this, translates Kang Hansu's words to Julia and Leisha and suggests a restaurant where they can have a great meal. Upon hearing Kang Hansu's preference, the ladies responded to Cogmos, and he seemed to be visibly angered. Looking at Kang Hansu, Cogmos translated that the ladies want to dine at the place Kang Hansu suggested. Excitedly, Kang Hansu agreed that eating at the place Cogmos recommended would be fine for him, while Cogmos retreated to a corner, seemingly sobbing over his negative riz. With their decision made, they all headed to the restaurant, with the outsider god menacingly following Kang Hansu along the way. As the scene transitions, MANHWA stands outside the entrance of the slave market, observing the situation around him. He begins to contemplate whether what he's about to do is right but decides not to dwell on it too much and proceeds to enter the slave market. Inside, MANHWA explores the main hall but is soon stopped by someone. When he turns around, he sees one of his classmates, who is also there to acquire a slave. MANHWA can't help but stare at his classmate's muscular slave, but his thoughts are interrupted by his classmate, who questions if MANHWA, like him, has given up on being a hero and collected the Independence Fund. In response, MANHWA simply replies that it's a secret. His classmate pats his back, reassuring MANHWA not to worry, as they are both in the same situation. MANHWA's classmates then decide to share a useful tip with him. He points at the manager of the slave market and explains that if MANHWA tells the manager that he is a hero, he would be offered premium slaves that aren't openly displayed in the market. Shocked by this revelation, MANHWA mentions that claiming to be a hero after leaving is against the contract. However, his classmates assure him not to worry, explaining that if the manager checks his status window and sees the hero blessing, it wouldn't be considered a breach of the contract. Surprised by this critical flaw in the contract, MANHWA momentarily ignores his classmates and approaches the manager. As he does so, his classmates watch him with a dubious smirk on their faces. Upon reaching the manager, MANHWA expresses his interest in buying a slave. The manager promptly uses his blessing to peek at MANHWA's status window and discovers that he is a hero. Excited to see a hero, the manager warmly welcomes MANHWA and asks him what type of slave he desires. With enthusiasm, Oh Han-woo explains that he wants a strong female warrior. The manager then takes him to a secret entrance, leading to a corridor outside. There, the manager presents a super big and heavily built lady as an option. However, Oh Han-woo quickly turns her down, expressing his preference for a strong yet slender female. This leaves the manager looking at him with a sussy expression. Nonetheless, the manager guides Oh Han-woo and shows him a couple of choices. From the options presented, Oh Han-woo selects 3 slaves that catch his interest. The manager is excited at the prospect of making a considerable amount of money from Oh Han-woo's purchase decisions. Upon making his selection, the manager approached the slaves chosen by Oh Han-woo and freed them from their restrictions, officially transferring ownership to Oh Han-woo. The manager ensured that the ownership transfer was complete and advised Oh Han-woo to give clear orders to the slaves, as there could be instances where slaves may attempt to harm their owners or run away. Having understood the manager's advice, Oh Han-woo paid for the slaves and reassured himself that they would never betray him since he planned to take care of them with love. With all the necessary procedures done, Oh Han-woo gave his newly acquired slaves, Sarah, Kana, and Lisa, their first order, asking them to follow him to get weapons. All 3 slaves responded affirmatively. Filled with excitement, Oh Han-woo couldn't help but giggle with joy, while the gods who were observing the scene found the situation amusing and couldn't contain their laughter. As the scene transitions, we find Kang Han-soo at the Mercenary Guild after having a meal with Julia and Leisha. He appears distressed as he stares at the Mercenary Guild contract paper, realizing that he doesn't know how to write in the Western Common Language, making him unable to sign the contract. Feeling helpless, Kang Han-soo tears up, unsure of what to do. Cogmos, noticing the situation, begins to mock Kang Han-soo about his inability to write, leaving him annoyed. However, Cogmos suggests that Kang Han-soo can simply sign using his name. He hands him a piece of paper where he has spelled out Kang Han-soo and urges him to copy it into the contract. With excitement, Kang Han-soo grabs the paper and, sweating nervously, copies what Cogmos wrote down to complete the contract signing. After a long and tedious 10 minutes, Kang Han-soo finally completed signing his contract and excitedly declared it. However, Cogmos was seen laughing, unable to believe that Kang Han-soo fell for his prank. Noticing Cogmos' laughter, Kang Han-soo quickly handed the signed contract to the receptionist and questioned Cogmos about what was wrong. Cogmos told him not to worry about it, still amused by the situation. Kang Han-soo then opened his status window and realized that he had finally gained the mercenary blessing, a D rank, leaving him elated. Seeing Kang Han-soo's excitement, Cogmos urged him to thank Julia and Leisha, as they were the ones who vouched for Kang Han-soo's skills, leading to him receiving the D rank mercenary blessing. Kang Han-soo responded by saying he couldn't thank them since he couldn't communicate with them, which prompted Cogmos to mock him, leaving Kang Han-soo frustrated. During their playful exchange, Julia and Leisha interrupted Kang Han-soo and Cogmos and offered a mission for them to undertake together. Curious about the mission, Kang Han-soo asked Cogmos to translate, and Cogmos explained that the mission involves significantly reducing the number of orcs, with the reward depending on the number of orc noses brought back. Upon hearing this, Kang Han-soo couldn't help but feel excited, realizing that the mission would be a piece of cake for him. He planned to use Julia and Leisha as bait to lure out the orcs, making the task easier. The outsider god interjected, questioning if another slaughter was going to happen, but Kang Han-soo clarified that it wouldn't be a mere slaughter this time, but rather a complete annihilation. As the scene transitions, we see Julia and Leisha attempting the mission, struggling to take down even a single orc together. After a hard-fought battle with one orc, they thought they had a momentary respite, but to their surprise, the orc they thought they had defeated began to rise again. However, their fortune changed when another orc crashed into the standing one, killing them both instantly. Meanwhile, they observed Kang Han-soo skillfully and effortlessly taking on the orcs one after another, swiftly annihilating them. Leisha, as she witnesses this mass destruction, remarks that as the daughter of a count, she has encountered numerous great individuals, including kings, knights, and top-tier mercenaries. However, in her entire life, she has never seen anyone like Kang Han-soo, who is currently slaying the orcs with such ease, making it seem like child's play. After defeating the current orcs in the area, Kang Han-soo proceeds to pursue another pack of orcs without hesitation. However, Leisha, with tears in her eyes, pleads with him to stop, expressing their need for rest. Kang Han-soo looks back at her with a puzzled expression, not comprehending her words. Thankfully, Cogmos steps forward to translate what Leisha said to Kang Han-soo, much to her relief. After Cogmos translates Leisha's plea to Kang Han-soo, they all finally get a moment of rest. Leisha is astonished by Kang Han-soo's stamina, as he single-handedly annihilated almost all the orcs in the area without showing any signs of exhaustion. However, her thoughts are interrupted when Julia approaches her, struggling to stand due to exhaustion. After a brief banter between the two, Julia couldn't help but express admiration for Kang Han-soo's abilities. Leisha mentions that Kang Han-soo attributes his strength to his blessing, but Julia clarifies that she wasn't talking about his blessing but his talent. Confused, Leisha urges Julia to explain further. Julia, being a swordsman herself, describes Kang Han-soo's swordsmanship as incredibly amazing, beyond words to describe. She emphasizes that Kang Han-soo's swordsmanship is dangerous and unstable, capable of destroying his own body if he makes a single mistake, yet he has been using it freely all day without holding back. Upon hearing Julia's description of Kang Han-soo's exceptional abilities, Leisha becomes even more astonished. As they observe him, they notice Kang Han-soo studying a common language picture book for kids, carefully pronouncing each word. This leaves them both shocked at his dedication to learning the language. During this exchange, Julia informs Leisha that she has reached level 15, leading Leisha to feel a hint of disappointment as she realizes the widening gap between their strengths. Julia reveals her goal of boosting her student blessing to a B rank, but Leisha expresses concern, warning her about the potential risks and injury if she pushes herself too hard. Julia reassures Leisha, telling her not to worry, as having just the two of them might have been a problem, but now they are with Kang Han-soo. She points out that Kang Han-soo has been preoccupied with their safety since the start of the mission, which she noticed while observing him. Hearing about Julia's observations, Leisha teases her a bit, but their banter is cut short when Kang Han-soo closes the book he was reading and tells them in the common language to get ready for the next hunting session. Initially shocked by Kang Han-soo speaking in the common language, both girls follow his lead. As they continue on, Leisha can't help but find herself curious about Kang Han-soo and his actions. The scene suddenly shifts back to the temple, where the saintess is examining the bag found in the forest, believed to belong to one of the summoned heroes. As she evaluates the items inside the bag, the saintess asks the knight where it was discovered, and he explains that it was found in the Knoll territory. Curious, the saintess inquires about the number of people aware of the bag, and the knight responds that only the commander, himself, and the saintess are currently aware of it. Concerned about any potential report to the prince, the saintess asks the knight if there's any chance the commander might have informed the prince, to which the knight assures her that there are no chances of that happening. While inspecting the bag and its contents, the saintess reveals that she has accessed all the hero's personal belongings, both those currently in training and those who have left. Turning her attention back to the knight, she compliments him on promptly reporting the matter to her and then warns him to forget everything about the bag unless he wants to face dire consequences. Upon hearing this, the knight's affirmed, and he quickly departs from the scene. The saintess, left alone, picks up a badge from the bag, which bears the owner's name. Unable to understand the inscription, she discreetly hands the badge to one of her attendants, instructing them to learn the letters and pronunciation from one of the heroes without revealing her true intentions, and then report back to her. Lost in thought, the saintess contemplates whether the goddess may have mistakenly transported one of the heroes to a different location. As she ponders this possibility, her attendant, right before leaving, informs her about an incident related to Lady Celeblis, who was previously kidnapped. According to the villagers, they identified the person who saved Lady Celeblis from the perpetrators who were sacrificing fairies as a vengeful spirit of the outsider. Hearing the term outsider, the saintess considers the probability that the person was referred to as an outsider because they were wearing foreign clothes, similar to the heroes when they first arrived. However, she sets aside her assumption and urges her attendant to fetch a sketch of what the person looks like. The scene transitions, and we see Cogmos, Julia, and Leisha all asleep, while Kang Han-soo sits by the campfire they made, engrossed in studying the book Cogmos gave him. As he studies, he notices that the outsider god seems to like the pictures in the book and asks the god if it's true. The outsider god confirms that it indeed likes the pictures. Curious, Kang Han-soo then asks the outsider god about the whereabouts of the other gods. The outsider god responds that it doesn't know. Kang Han-soo explains to the god that it's for its own safety, as knowing the location of the other gods would help him avoid going in their direction. In response to Kang Han-soo's reasoning, the outsider god points north, indicating that all the gods are located in that direction. Upon hearing that the gods are all located in the north, Kang Han-soo realizes that this direction might be near the temple Cogmos mentioned. This leads him to consider that the saintess who serves the goddess might also be in that area. Wanting to avoid any confrontation with the goddess until he is certain of his strength, Kang Han-soo decides not to head in that direction for now. Returning to his book, Kang Han-soo continues studying, but the outsider god interrupts him, urging him to flip to the next page. Kang Han-soo explains that he needs to memorize the content first, but the outsider god insists and nags him to turn the page. However, as the outsider god continues to pressure him, Kang Hansu senses a group of humans approaching their location. He urges the outsider god to wait for a moment as they might need to deal with the incoming humans. With this realization, Kang Hansu wakes up Cogmos and informs him about the situation before waking up the girls as well. As everyone is now awake, they notice fire lamps scattered around the tall grass, and a human who appears to be the leader of a bandit crew emerges from the grass, confronting them while his crew remains hidden and ready. As the leader approaches, he speaks to Kang Hansu, and Cogmos translates his words, explaining that the leader demands Kang Hansu to hand over all his spoils from hunting the orcs in the area. The leader then speaks again, this time with confidence, and Cogmos translates, stating that the leader threatens to kill both of them while sparing the noble ladies if they surrender. Hearing this, Kang Hansu becomes furious at the audacity of the humans trying to forcefully take what he rightfully earned, and he is further angered by the sexist plan to spare the ladies while intending to kill him and Cogmos. As a vast number of armed bandits emerge from the long grass, the noble ladies prepare themselves for battle. In response, Kang Hansu exudes a menacing aura and expresses a determined promise to send each and every one of the humans to the afterlife, ensuring a fair and equal outcome. As the battle was about to commence, Kang Hansu was taken aback by the overwhelming number of bandits coming to attack them. He quickly realized that it would be challenging to fight while also protecting Julia and Leisha. In a moment of inspiration, he used the hero's curse to call forth all the orcs in the vicinity. The bandits were startled by the sudden appearance of the orcs and immediately opened fire on Kang Hansu, who effortlessly blocked their shots. He then delivered a devastating punch to their leader's gut, causing him to vomit blood. The bandits, now in shock, halted their attack, but their fear intensified when a group of orcs emerged behind them and started attacking them. The situation quickly turned into chaos as the bandits found themselves facing a combined force of orcs and Kang Hansu's wrath. As Kang Hansu observed that everything was going according to plan, he recognized it as a great opportunity to gain double experience points. He skillfully eliminated both the orcs and the bandits one by one while they were preoccupied with fighting each other. However, to his surprise, the boss of the bandits stood up, seemingly not yet defeated, and launched an attack on Kang Hansu. Simultaneously, 3 of his companions charged at Kang Hansu from the front. Despite their well-coordinated strike, Kang Hansu's injuries began to heal, leaving the attackers bewildered. With a menacing glare, Kang Hansu retaliated, thrusting his hands into the chest of the bandit leader. Witnessing this horrifying display, all the bandits instantly became terrified of him. After making sure the noble ladies were doing fine, Kang Hansu decided to continue harvesting his valuable experience points. The outsider god, on the other hand, persistently nagged at him, expressing its desire to read the picture books. The following day, Kang Hansu returns to the mercenary guild with a sack full of orc noses, stunning the mercenaries around him. As he presents it to the receptionist, he mentions to Cogmos that he could have obtained even more orc noses if not for Julia and Leisha's presence, much to Cogmos' annoyance due to Kang Hansu's lack of empathy. Kang Hansu then hands over a paper to the girls, urging them to take one each as proof of their successful completion of the mission together. Excitedly, both Julia and Leisha accept the paper and inform Kang Hansu that, thanks to him, they were able to level up significantly during the hunt. Cogmos joins in, stating that he also leveled up. Eager to find out how much he has leveled up, Kang Hansu excitedly checks his status window. After checking his status window, Kang Hansu is shocked to discover that he is still only at level 1. With a bewildered expression, he immediately turns to the outsider god and demands an explanation, but the outsider god simply crosses its arms and pouts, turning its head away. Kang Hansu is left feeling utterly dismayed and desperate, letting out a scream of sadness and frustration.